Alright, and we're back with some Star Wars Galactic Warfare here on not exactly Tatooine, but we got Bog. So, here goes nothing. Okay, we are the actual Imperial forces this time from the looks of it. Alright. So my last part I kind of went on a nonsensical tangent about fucking killing again, but you know. Spec Ops The Line's been on my mind recently, and a few other games that I've played that kind of satirize the whole thing, as well as just um, stuff I've seen on the news. Bad news, naturally. Plane crashes, tornadoes, fucking people getting shot, killed at churches, plus riotings and other shit, so that's real fun. But this mod is pretty awesome. And like I was saying in the last part, I think what modern games get very well is the technological state they're in. It's a lot more acceptable to have a game running at 60 frames a second with very little input lag than it is to have it at, I don't know, 24 frames per second with a shitload of input lag. The screen jitter is all over the place. Um, the game in a technical state is not particularly fine to play, nor is it particularly fun in a lot of manners. The input lag is unresponsive. My character drops inputs constantly. Like if I'm playing Uncharted on the PlayStation 3, the parkour feels straight up broken because I have to click the button twice sometimes because Nathan Drake's fat ass can't move over an inch on the ledge correctly. So I get screwed over, which sucks. Or like GTA 5 on the PlayStation 3. I can't play that shit because it makes me feel sick. Couple that with terrible loading screens. I don't know why the fuck it makes me feel sick so badly, but, there are very few times I will feel like that. Usually it's strobe lights, but I think what it is just the game is big and empty and it has nothing in it. If you ever heard of the phobia, agoraphobia, it's the fear of large crowds and large places, and I do have a little bit of that. Not enough for it to be super terribly dangerous, but the way GTA 5 does it, it kind of bugs me because there are just like huge expanses of desert and forest out there that have nothing, but then there are places that are way too jam-packed. Couple that with things they've removed from prior games, mostly because of the technical state, and then the story. Just not being that fun to play. It's really just annoying as fuck, and then I get lost when I come back. Like, not in a good way where it's like Skyrim, where the open world is so good in Skyrim because I'll constantly find new shit I want to do. It's just annoying because I find the same annoying, pissed off assholes who don't want me to be there. Like, even when the game is technically sound, for the most part, outside of just extreme, lag and stutters and other stuff like that. There were other issues with the aiming system basically holding my hand, and it was super disorienting. Like, usually I'm not super disoriented by auto-aim systems, unless they're just obscenely strong. Or it feels like I have so little control over my dude shooting, while the camera is, like, slightly jerking, like, all over the place to make it seem intense or cool. Like, when they try to recreate a lot of motion shake, but they don't have convincing motion blur or other effects that would make it look proper, it does mess with my eyes, coupled with the low frame rate. It looks very choppy and doesn't look very clear. The colors look kind of washed out. And this is just an unfortunate issue with the PlayStation 3 version. I have had a little bit better luck on the Xbox because of the hardware, but the loading screens are just abysmal, so I just decided to fucking get the shit on the Epic Game Store because I had it for free during a giveaway once, so I played it, and it was alright. It did feel a bit hollow and empty, though. And, if I have to mod a game, like, it's the same thing with Fallout 4, where I would only enjoy the game because I mod the shit out of it, not because the core gameplay is particularly fun. Then I don't think the game itself is good. It's just a good thing to fuck around with if I have too much spare time, like a toy. There's some sort of, you know, homemade fucking science project, and I don't go to fucking school anymore, so I'm not 12. This shit doesn't interest me. I don't care about these little DIY projects. I care about doing something with, something that amounts to something, not just something that's fun for the sake of it and amounts to nothing that you can really show off. Or 500 tsunami added tsunami effects with puddles and other reshade shit. It's like marginally better graphics than ray tracing or whatever. Or a lot of these AI effects that were just totally in games from 2006, but now they require AI, so they could just sell you a new card. You see, our goal at AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel simultaneously was to needlessly remake graphics to work only with our specific cards so we could create problems in rendering and make our games look like shit. This is a problem that's going to continue throughout Windows 11 and only going to get worse. Because right now, you can go to older shit and it'd be easy to find, but they stopped making DVD drives. That will become a problem later in the future. Don't worry, a lot of people don't think about it now, but don't worry, they will come for you. If you like this shit now, don't worry. They will find a way to screw it up for you. They will find a way to make it worse and find a way to ruin it. This thing that you love will die, and it will be either in 5 years, 10 years, or 3, depending on how it goes. Also like the flat cannons on this map. They look pretty good. Pretty appropriate for shooting down TIE fighters. Though, what's inappropriate is how the fucking bots get up on the ceiling, and I can't. They have strange mystical force powers that allow them to jump like a fucking kangaroo. Those womp rats really know how to fucking go through the ceiling. Jeez Louise. That was something I did like about the remaster of this game, was they actually did add animated rats with sounds and really good animation and detail. But they kind of ruined it with all the new guns they added and all the DLC. So having just a day one version of the game with the DLC maps is basically the best way to play it. Or reverse engineered mod stuff where people remake Modern Warfare 2 with the, I don't know, other mods they had. Yeah, the biggest reason why SM2 didn't go anywhere, immediately I'll tell you, is because they advertised it before it was finished. Same shit that always kills Star Wars projects. Advertise it when it is done, not before. If you advertise it before it's done, it's never going to pick up steam. You're going to have nothing but infighting and bitching and complaining, basically ruin it. There's more infighting in Star Wars than politics and the NFL combined. Oh, politics, the NFL, anime, and Harry Potter. Star Trek, and basically any fucking fandom with a big enough fan base to bitch about it. Star Wars takes the cake for fucking weird, petty internet beef that people have for fucking years and years. Whole generations of people will get so pissed off and trolled by that kind of thing. Also, like the blue watermelons are on this one. I guess the mod just also replaces shit at random, which is why it couldn't load Not a Cave. I did try loading the Not a Cave map, and it didn't work, so you get bog in the other maps instead. Shit. I do like this, the normal maps and the specular reflections for the lights and shit too on the ground. See, that's what made this game really stand out a lot more than others, was just the way that lights up and glows and looks. It's dated now, obviously, but it's an effective technique if you were just give it like higher resolution textures and like, some better lighting. Some post-processing effects as well. And I do like the way the 2010s lights look, but they can be a little grating on the eyes, which stops me from going back to games like Mirror's Edge, Catalyst, or Titanfall 2 consistently. Is just the way the lighting becomes disorienting after a while. Black Ops 3, where it's kind of washed out, does look a little better, but I still felt like the definition of textures left something to be desired. The textures looked awful in that game, but the lighting looked very nice when it was mostly shit that was on fire, like the Stalingrad map they had in Zombies, as well as the some bits in the campaign where you go to like World War II. When things looked dirty, they looked really good, but when they looked clean, they just looked awful. I think scratched metal is a thing that just next-gen games could never quite get right. Um, Often they would just look more like plastic. They would look like plastic. Meanwhile, this shit gets it right. There's a rust on there, there's scratches, and even if the textures don't look very defined, you can tell it's three-dimensional. This looks like really fucked up. Or that fence looks fucked up and rusted. They would never look like that. They would look too shiny. The materials would never look like this. They wouldn't look this convincing usually. Even though it's a low resolution texture, it does look convincing, and it tells me that this is a real washing machine or a real heater that was fucking used, or the sink has scuffs and scratches and wear and tear, or this fence looks dirty. It doesn't look pristine, you know. This barrel looks fucked up and used. Looks like it's been having this fire on it for a long time. The top of it is toasted and the metal has literally started to crack and deform. Or this sheet metal. When I look at the light this way, it doesn't always look fucking lit. This is a literal dumpster fire, and it looks better than a lot of metal in games I see now. Lights the edges of that shit convincingly. Just, you know, I'm gonna... There we go. This is my experience with the Star Wars Galactic Warfare mods AI. Kind of a dumpster fire and all over the place, in other words. Sometimes these AI are spot on, other times they're just dancing in the fires. I just cannot tell for the life of me. What's going on in Gary's head? Gary the Stormtrooper is up to no good again. There's a bad guy in here. Damn it. Revenge. There's no probe droid. There's no Viper droid anyway. I guess they didn't program it into these maps. I don't think they intended for you to ever get into them, but I mean, since they've replaced some models, it does tell me that there was some thought I put into it. But I have been seeing a lot of like Star Wars Vietnam AI videos. Those are kind of fun. Oh shit, he's dead. Some of the AI stuff is funny. Usually the funny stuff that isn't intended to be taken too seriously works. Though the Star Wars prequels mixed with AI is actually pretty good. Not even the stuff where it's broken and cursed, just like the mock-up movies that fans would make about Order 66 or Count Dooku or the Trade Federation especially, just because they do not have a lot of love. I do like the droids. I thought the droids were one of the most fun factions that were added to Star Wars. They're literally lifeless robots, and they have significantly more life to them than almost fucking any other sci-fi, you know, robots in a lot of different, you know, franchises I can think of. And that's kind of the ironic thing about robots in things. You don't want them to literally be robotic, or if you do, you want them to have some amount of personality to them when you're writing them, otherwise they don't seem believable. And that's kind of the thing, is if they don't seem believable, I think that's fine to a certain extent, because like a robot, an AI is stupid, because it's made by stupid people for stupid people, so it wouldn't accomplish anything significant or smart, because it would just collapse in on itself, like Black Ops 3 predicts. I think Black Ops 3's prediction of AI and the warnings it gave were 100% fucking accurate. The AI isn't even that smart. it just grows and grows and grows and makes people so upset that it eventually collapses in on itself. They were literally predicting all of the same dangers that everybody who talks about Linux or sustainable, market shit talks about these days, verbatim. Except they were a big company poking fun at their own unsustainable future that they were creating. Who the fuck would know better than the company who was making this dystopia about the problems of it when they're going to have to live in it? The funniest part about it is their solution is basically showing you just stop fighting people, stop shooting people, stop buying these new games because we're not going to innovate anymore, and just go back to Windows 7. A lot of Chinese people I know have gone back to Windows 7, and yeah, it turns out it's because Microsoft, decided to use them, and they weren't particularly fans of their restrictive and lockdown shitty software. I think a lot of the Asian market has the right culture and the right idea where it's like when it comes to technology, if they see a problem, they don't care if the solution is official or not. They'll just make it. They'll just fucking go for it. Like a lot of the shit, the ass end of Chinese sweatshops and stuff, they got the right idea where it's like, oh, you know, fucking RTX 6050 doesn't exist, but we can make one. Because we know how to based off of all of this data. And they got fucking crazy-ass rocket scientist shit. I saw a documentary about that by Gamers Nexus, and I loved that, the attitude they had. So fucking refreshing. Or like how Japanese technologies tends to be very small, minimal, and just focused on functionality and actually working, for fuck's sake, right? The cartoons I could give any less of a fuck about. I hate their fucking cartoons. But their technology? Yeah, good shit. They actually seem to do a good job. Just make the cartoons optional, if you don't mind. That's the only thing I got a fucking issue with. Same thing with American cartoons. Fucking Johnny Test or most of these new ones ain't any good. Not a fan of a lot of very cartoonish art styles. Unless they have, some real elements to them at least. Stuff like Scott Pilgrim, that stuff's fine. Like you could have a real world thing with video gamey elements to it. Or like Pixels from 2014. Yeah, okay, I could understand that. Or like Percy Jackson or, G.I. Joe from fucking 2011. Cheesy movies, but they're just like, turn your brain off and have fun kind of things. You don't need to think about them too much. No, I would rather it not be you abuse this trust and make it so you took advantage of my not thinking of this thing to abuse and extort me for money. Like a lot of recent video games, movies, TV shows, music, and other shit have been doing. Which is why I can't entirely get behind the nostalgic thing. Because one, I don't have nostalgia for this shit, and two, it seems really fucking disingenuous, shitty, and manipulative. Because these are the people who fucked up the thing, now let's release a fucked up version that isn't as fun as when you remembered it. Not because you got older, but because we didn't do as good of a job ripping off the thing that we broke and destroyed. Dead Space remake, great example. Okay, so we destroyed the studio who made Dead Space. We fucked up and canceled their Uncharted Star Wars game that was like 1313. We canceled that entirely. We got every single person who made Uncharted 3, basically, to make this game for us, and we canceled it because it didn't have Jedi, and because we're stupid retards at EA who don't know how to fucking make video games. Gotcha. Okay. So your solution to this was to instead force Jedis into your Uncharted Star Wars clone that proceeded to come out 2 years later, and that totally didn't just recycle assets from that game, called Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, you got it in your heads that everything had to be Jedi. No Sith, no smugglers, no bounty hunters. Why the Jedi? That's such a narrow-minded way of thinking about this entire franchise that you have. Why not do something with the Sith? Like, if everyone's gonna be an evil asshole, well, you got a perfect excuse. Just write them as the Sith. Why are the rebels portrayed as evil assholes who screw over innocent people? That would make more sense if it was like they were Sith Lords or something. But, you know, that's not what they do. They could do something super interesting where they have the rebels, you know, using Sith powers or whatever, but they don't do that for their, you know, Star Wars Outlaws. They don't have the girl using Sith powers or something. So her being powerful and one-shotting, you know, stormtroopers would make sense, but she's fighting for the, you know, the rebels because she doesn't like the Empire and, you know, whatever the fuck it is. Like, Jyn Erso was fine. That worked fine in Rogue One. You know, if you were just going to have it be some small story where, like, this rebel chick steals the Death Star plans or something, make it matter, you know? Make it matter and make it actually make sense to me. Make me care. Because if you don't make me care, why would I show up? I don't have any obligation to play shit that isn't fun. I got every obligation to fucking play shit that's fun. I got every obligation to show up for shit I want to see. We're here for a good time, not for a long time. Speaking of time, that's all I got for this fucking video. Thanks for watching.